The cure for anything is salt water. Sweat, tears, or the sea. Isaac Denison.
I am completely convinced that every single homesteader should make time for their family, whether it's for a vacation or a weekend getaway, whatever it may be. Taking that time and spending it with your family is essential to your homesteading lifestyle. A lot of people worry about how their homestead is going to be taken care of, or finding someone to take care of their homestead while they're gone. But the reality is that it's pretty simple. It's really simple to leave your homestead behind during certain times of year when it's not extremely busy. And that's exactly what we did this past week. For the first time in 5 years, we decided to take a vacation, and it was a wonderful vacation. But not only did we decide to take a vacation with just the three of us, we decided to invite some family and friends as well. It made it extra special. Some friends of ours has a beach house down in Hatteras Island, and so we decided to go down there and enjoy the community and the relationship of the island life. It's so incredibly amazing that we had no idea what was in store for us. Now, I didn't take a lot of video while we were on vacation because I was trying to be mostly technology free. But as you can see, I've been showing you some clips. The beach was beautiful. We had such an amazing time. We had one Sunday afternoon, we had crawfish, and our friend Nanda and John, they brought crawfish with them all the way from Mississippi. And it was a first experience for me. I'd never had crawfish before, and it was delicious. I didn't eat a lot of it because I do have a shellfish allergy, but it was really, really good. Not only did we spend time going through Hatteras Island, visiting all the little restaurants that are there, spending time on the beach, we also took a 1-hour ferry ride over to Ocracoke Island, which I don't have any clips of other than the ferry itself because I'm terrified of water. And so I didn't even think about taking video, but it was such an amazing experience. The beach over there is massive, and they have great places to eat. There's so much history over there. I would love to go back there again soon. That way we can kind of explore everything and explore Blackbeard's, grave site and all kinds of different fun things like that. Some people have asked me, how did you take a vacation when you have a working homestead? Now, we don't have a huge homestead like some others may have. We don't have a milk cow or dairy goats or anything like that, but we do have chickens, we do have rabbits, we have a garden that's steadily growing, and we have systems in place so that should the time come where we need someone to take care of it, they can easily transfer over into it. So my sister-in-law and mother-in-law and their families, they were the ones who were taking care of the animals, and my very awesome neighbor, Suzanne, was taking care of my garden and my seedlings while I was gone. I had a lot of seedlings. I was so concerned that they might die if I didn't have somebody doing it the proper way. But they lasted. They did great. The only unfortunate event is that we had transitioned our Orpington chicks over into the big coop, and apparently there was a small hole in the chicken run that they kept getting out of. We could never figure out where they were getting out. We blocked every single hole, every single area, but as you know, chicks, once they can squeeze their body into a little space, they can get out anywhere. We lost 4 of our buff Orpington chicks while we were gone to a hawk. Our neighbor actually said that he saw a hawk taking one of the chicks one day. Now, they aren't chicks anymore. I mean, they're juvenile birds, and so they are big enough to be in the chicken run, but somehow they were just getting out. So we have 1 buff Orpington chick left. All 5 of our light Brahmas are left, but I'm going to be adding some more buff Orpingtons again once we can kind of figure out where we want to go with that. We do still have the black copper Moran hatching eggs that are coming this week, and hopefully both of those batches will come at the same time, and we'll have some more chicks with that. The homestead was booming when we got home. We left Virginia and there were hardly any leaves on the trees. As we drove back into Virginia, we realized that everything was green. Every tree had bloomed. Every tree had leaves on it. And when we got to the homestead, my garden was full of weeds because it had rained and it was so warm. It was actually 90 degrees one day in Virginia while we were gone, while it was 75 degrees down at the beach in North Carolina. So we came home to a lot of things blooming. All of our perennials that Mark had brought home last year for us to plant, they have come up, they have been blooming really well, and it's really giving the house some nice curb appeal. My potatoes popped up. I did a little experiment this year where I cut the potato in half and planted it, and then the other half I planted the potato whole. And when I got home, I was surprised to see that the half that I had planted, the potatoes I cut in half, were grown up really, really big and had grown up really fast. The half of the row that I planted whole potatoes, they hadn't even sprouted up yet. And so that was a really fun experiment for me to see when I got home. And because we had that week-long span in between where I wasn't at home and watching them grow constantly, I could see the major difference in so many different areas of my garden. It was really exciting. My peas have come up, my onions and garlic are doing great. The radishes, the white icicle radishes, they are doing amazing, and I'm really excited to try those this year. As I mentioned before, that's a brand new vegetable for me, so I'm excited about that. My sunflowers are coming up. I've lost a couple of them. I'm thinking the wild rabbit got to a couple of them, but it is what it is. We have so many perennials that we planted last year. My husband owns his own landscaping and handyman business, and he does a lot of other things within that business, but a lot of times one of his jobs is to weed out areas of properties and estates that are really heavy with wildflowers or perennials that spread. So last year on a couple of his estates, he brought home hostas, echinacea, lily of the valley, a lot of different things that he brought home, and I know we planted hundreds and hundreds of plants on this property. But the issue is that we didn't have any perennials that were growing very well because we get so much shade on our property. So these perennials were already established. He dug up all the roots and he brought trailer loads of them home. And so between myself and him and his cousin who helped us last year plant a lot of these perennials, so many of them are coming up, and it's really making everything look beautiful and green and lovely. The chickens and ducks were ready for us to be home. They really just enjoyed seeing us. They came running, and the ducks were just loud mouths like they always are. So I decided to whip up a quick oatmeal herbal treat for them. I'm going to show you that in a separate video either later this week or maybe the beginning of next week. It's a really simple, easy trick. a great way to get herbs and other minerals and vitamins into their system when they've been coming out of a stressful state or when they just need an extra immunity boost. The rabbits are finally bred. I actually bred them yesterday, earlier this week, and I tried to breed them before we left on vacation and it just wasn't working. They were not having it whatsoever. So I decided to go ahead and try to rebreed them again earlier this week, and they both were bred successfully. So that means we should have baby rabbits in about a month. We do have a few of those rabbits already sold if the breed was successful, but the rest of them will go into the freezer for our meat stock. The question that a lot of you have been asking is, what have we decided on the new garden space? I've answered some of you in the comments, so some of you already know, but the answer to that is, well, let me explain it a little bit more. So we have this garden space on the other side of the walkway, and it gets some sunlight in the morning throughout the early afternoon, but then it'll go into shade. So it's technically considered a partial sun area, but that's a great area to plant things like lettuces, cilantro, thyme, any herb or vegetable that needs partial sun, partial shade. But the question has been, should we dig up that part of the yard? Our front yard is pretty small. Most of our property is in the back of the house. And so did we really want to take up that yard space, that play space, especially thinking resale value in mind? And we thought, you know, maybe we'll just leave it, we'll just plant some grass seed. That area of the yard has been trampled on so much because we've done so many projects around the homestead that that soil is so compacted. So we would have to do something special with grass. But then we thought, well, maybe we could just make it a garden. So instead of thinking about resale value, but also thinking about resale value because someone who buys this property could want a garden, we are deciding officially to tear up that space, we've already started, and make it into a part sun garden. This will be like our little offshoot of the kitchen garden, but it'll house things like lettuce and, like I said, partial shade herbs and other things. We can't plant anything like tomatoes over there, anything that needs full sunlight. But there are a lot of other things we can plant. Peas, it'll allow me to grow peas all summer long because peas do better in a partial shade environment rather than the hot summer sun the whole time. So there are a lot of new and exciting things I can do over there. So there's your answer. What in the world are we doing? We are digging up our lawn and putting in a new garden space. So essentially we have tripled our garden space for this year compared to last year. And I cannot wait to get back in the garden now that we're home from vacation. Things are booming, things are happening. We have a lot of things left to plant. My seeds are doing great and many of them I can already plant in the ground. So I'll probably be spending this weekend doing exactly that. Thank you guys so much for being patient with us not uploading any videos for the last 2 weeks. We really enjoyed a lot of great family time. I guarantee you and promise you that if you put systems into place that allow you the freedom and liberation to go on a vacation or to take a day trip or to go on a weekend trip, you deserve it. Your family deserves it, and your family deserves your time and your quality time and space. And so I encourage you to plan that vacation or plan that away time because it really helped rejuvenate us in ways that we never really realized was possible. We hadn't taken a vacation for 5 years. Everything was so busy. Work is demanding. The homestead is demanding. But the fact that we just did it, and we lacked a lot of technology while we were on the trip, it almost clears your mind out and gives you this sense of freedom and this sense of, hey, this is why I'm doing exactly what I'm doing. We loved coming home to the chickens and the ducks and the rabbits and the garden and seeing all the progress that had been made while we were gone. And it just helped solidify that feeling of, this is home, this is why we do what we do. Vacation was awesome, vacation is necessary, but we're coming home to our homestead, to a place that is simple and easy and hard all at the same time, but worth it, where we can grow our own food, we can depend on ourselves, and we can tend to the land like good stewards of the earth should do. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy homesteading.